everything on the board. Jerry's Coalescence working absolute overtime. It's King Kong Poppy in the kill feed. VOD to follow it up with a shot of his own. Shenandoah took the surprise attack like champs. Like, hey, this is nothing new for us. We invented this play. TAMU, they want to win. They're gonna have to try something else.
And a good response.
VOD is going to hit the deck first. King Kong Poppy's ultimate just a little bit too late to keep him on his feet. Shenandoah, though, the Blizzard from Sacred End was perfectly placed. It put TAMU straight back in Winter. Quite as the error to follow up. No red bodies on the point. Ben sure as heck knows it. Okay, yeah, so they're running the Malga. Malga notoriously is Ramontra's biggest counter. He is essentially useless when it comes to that. I mean, you're set on fire, doing crit damage through and through, but underneath that, VOD is taking all of the supports out before TAMU can even poke their head. Yet being down 3 of their team members, you're best off holding that for your next battle.
Yeah.
First advantage if they know how to work down a player or two and just gonna come back to save them in the best ways. Control Center is gonna hit 100%, and that's Shenandoah's second map win.
VOD able to find 2 huge picks with that ultimate coming through, and really that's what swung the fight back into SU. So you will see play of the game here. Ben able to pick up some
defensive game. Your amp matrix is up way sooner, so that threat of double damage, double healing, and even the Tree of Life put down on the objective. Overwhelming resources for
right, you mentioned that beam fully being invested into Ben there, trying to keep him alive.
And then be the ones fighting into an amp matrix. Interesting spot for Cherry to put it, but okay, if it works, it works. Never doubt this Baptiste player. She knows exactly what she is.
You're just trying to keep them out of harm's way, trying to stay alive, getting this heal onto Ben here. Sacred and VOD overclock now popped, but will go down, unfortunately, to the opposing soldiers.
Yeah, Just was sitting and waiting for that moment to come alive, and that's a couple players lifted up to the sky, smashed back to the present. Shenandoah now Sacred End. That's a pulse bomb out through the back. It is getting a loop. No reaction from either Isuzu or another toe near the payload. It's going to stop midway through that second up. Now.
Yeah, VOD again now for that.
He has a headshot!
Just barely missed.
Who else is left to provide a shield for the supports? Absolutely nobody. Ben happy to do a little bit of punching in a small area. Shenandoah are making quick work of Objective A.
Yeah, Wanter there just being singled out there.
Point number 2, securing a Shenandoah for match point.
Even a close push there for SU there. They were really just kind of able to roll through that one. Props to King Kong Poppy, able to find those back line angles. And you can see TAMU were trying to find this dive composition, but just unable to get onto the backside. I like the switches coming through, but they were just unable to execute it up against.
Convinced. Yeah, Shenandoah, yes, they are up temporarily. Now they're gonna have to regroup on the objective. It is unlocked. There's a few instances you will fight in the actual pit itself. Both teams looking for a knockout. Shenandoah physically been bringing out the good old punching fist. Gets gonna be a loop on the top, and it'll be the Hornets for the first cap. Popping off as an individual. There's another one in the kill feed. Speaking of which, and he shall be mentioned and appear for a triple. My goodness.
I mean, SU up 1-0 now on this flashpoint, and now the rotations, we're going to have to see where this one goes. But
big
Sacred End just getting aggressive on this back line.
Shenandoah, you have 2 options. You can either take the fight or go to the next point. Most teams choose to go to the next point, but at this point, all right, we're getting aggressive. We're getting a little punchy, and Annihilation and Overclock, as we'll see with Refinery, are 2 points that if you do not get to the objective first, you are in big trouble. I mean, Shenandoah, they had the setup, and they know exactly where TAMU are going to approach. While there's only 4 angles, you're very loud. You're just kind of stomping around.
And SU just playing so confidently.
And now, not going to peek much further out. Shenandoah, though, their health bars are low. Not quite bends. He's going to walk straight to the objective. Annihilation in hand. Yes, VOD loses his 1v1 at the end of the day. But for the greater sacrifice, while Loop was occupied, Ben was there attached to these purple tendrils and just annihilating TAMU.
Yeah, Ben staying.
Just resorted to taking a beating, backing off, playing the slower game. Allowing Shenandoah could ask for no brute force standing in the way of Shenandoah's wrath, and Bomb Flats certainly off to a great start. No major resources even helping guide the team through, and they're going to need it, particularly with Wanter waltzing around the objective. Next target just to fall as the Shenandoah cap has returned for TAMU. Shenandoah's resources, though, they're wisely backing off, waiting for all of that overhealth to dissipate before they themselves make the move to strike back in. Sacred End and VOD, a tag team of devastating damage to push through. TAMU keeping the trades relatively even, and it's VOD and Ben to finally put them down the bed. Nail in the
playing patiently, knowing when to give some ground back, waiting for these cooldowns to come back up, and then re-engaging later on in this fight, able to secure the victory. VODX, you can see him here in this goal here within the first 30 seconds here for SU.
Yeah, Mango looking nice and happy that he was able to lob that over the defense and Kiazi, but Shenandoah doesn't really care. It's 2-0 in their favor to start things off here.
Yeah, Kiazi just winning that kickoff. That's how
that ball out of the path, put it in the back of the net, and nets his second goal of game number 1 here, just barely enough to put on it and put fantastic team play between the two of them. Elim takes it off the side, reads the bounce, or Mango reads the bounce, is able to put it in the back of the net. Really just ruined for Shenandoah.
Yeah, Electro just able to find that clear. Kiazi just unable to make it there in time. Will get a point.
University of Mary Washington, signs of life after after an unfortunate start for Mary Washington.
Yeah,
Shenandoah the lead 50 seconds into this game number 3.
And look at the pass play, right? Elim recognizes the communication is there between
game number 3.
Yeah, these crosses just coming out left and right from SU. Mango finding that corner angle there, and Kiazi.
Goal right there from Kiazi. Just says, I don't need you guys, I'll do it all on my own. Just not a lot of boost either, and it just saves just enough to get
on his own pass.
Did you see the goal explosion? Wait, no, never mind. I was about to make a joke, but that is very clearly not Mango.
Dream behind us, 1-0 in the first 6 seconds of game number 4.
And he is hyped up and ready to go, and with a splat.
I believe that was Elim just barely missing that one. He gets the demo, but just barely misses the ball, but it's okay. There's still
an unfortunate bounce if you're Shenandoah. Just a great job right there by Kiazi being in the right place at the right time. No one on UNW and put it in the back of the net with 2 minutes to go. 2-goal advantage, and Shenandoah chasing this series.
4-1 now here for SU.
Yeah, and really just a phenomenal job by Kiazi. A little bit of disorientation by UMW, kind of.
And AJ is off the stage.
Yeah, and I was just about to say how I was really loving it so far out of AJ. Just kind of finding it right with those stuns. I mean, that's obviously the nature of this game, but Kazuya's stuns just last so much longer as AJ could spell death for either side. You'd really love to see AJ get one more stock in there. It is neither one of these players wants to lose their one stock. Nipstafa trying to hold the advantage and just in his arsenal will now look to get a second. As a combo starts, he will drop it, and that down smash will, I mean, one straight hit, not quite that dash attack, but one hit could be the deciding factor that puts it away.
Tilts that do take stocks. They nair, able to get Nipstafa back off stage. I'm expecting another forward tilt. No, Roy goes for the up air and
keep a large advantage, but a missed grab and a risky play from Roy might cost him his life. Not quite. He will not be able to make it back, or found a grab on him earlier, but can't get a back throw to kill. Now, still no punish in a back air. Up to 100% should go down very soon.
It's a matter of finding that last option, the up smash.
And now, finding some damage of his own as he's up all the way up to 150% will go down.
Well, yes, that is the move that is keeping a distance. Beyond that,
more and more dangerous, and we would hope that Igloo is able to find one more string, one more combo, and there it is.
It's going to be the PK Fire or the grab. There it is, and that is the game that you have to play. That is the fighting game.
Mind over here as a down air still will not finish the job. Another bell comes out, and that will do the hurling abilities, throwing hitboxes faster than any game we've seen yet today. As now Rob finds a bell and will find an up smash to confirm a kill.
But at the bell again, and I mean, he's been doing a really good job of controlling these bells and is holding these bells and is able to get a down air onto the Pac-Man. But Pac-Man saying the tempo of this game is starting to slow down a little bit. But the tech situation is special. Something we saw a lot in the last round. As we do see, there it is again, that Kazuya. He's sitting in the shield for just a little too long. You know what to expect. And now AJ catching out the double jump, getting Kazuya off stage, following him, and is able to take. You're going to sit in the shield. That is what you have to be aware of, and so safe distance and try to keep it up. But a Kazuya electric combo will honestly close stocks on their own, but a nice electric wing god fist will.
But a down smash the other way, and a reflected laser still doesn't do the job. Would do now.
And my goodness.
A down air the other way.
A up tilt, but a
great man.
Oh,
now going off stage to finish the job. A down air
there
into
it
a
is.
forward smash. That's
Unless, of course, he has the bell.
which he sure does.
For some other options, which means that when you're falling into stuff, Jigglypuff throwing out the forward air, it's dancing back and jumps into the forward smash.
A great look from Kip, although it doesn't quite work out. Now
the
a
back
stun will lead to a
Kip poking the shield and keeping the Rob on his toes. Wow. The down air comes out. Higher game, but now here's the other side of that coin. The amount of pressure Kip has when he has
just set in, right? Pac-Man potentially taking.
This is where it becomes risky as the Rob down air will connect. And
Way if Samus is able to find
the trip.
Oh my goodness!
I don't think he sees the guy right there. Does find the guy planting the bomb. Parlays it into his second. 1v3, looking for the clutch, looking for the last two. He's gonna find one. Another one wants it with us.
Absolutely a must-make because of the
And
ease of them.
easy what?
The rest of his team is slowly collapsing. The Sombra is the last one.
Oh,
and then
yes!
with the clutch.
Nella gonna get the Nair, starting out the Nair train. Boy cannot get out of it. What are we gonna see? The forward air, then down air!
Taking some form of space outside the spawn door, but Dragon Blade's gonna look to take it right back with a huge shatter. Oh my god! Another pick! Another pick! Oh, he just keeps going and just bang!
Hard point in the hand of the other team. Toxic tried to find one, finds a second. Does he get the 30?
Finishes off with the pistol!
The entire team in front of him, and he's gonna find
like
four!
dominoes.
The ace, actually!
Push on the corner, and Gingy staying deep instead of going defensive like usual.
Oh my god, King Kong Poppy with a 4-piece!
Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to another Shenandoah University broadcast. My name is Kevin Clayton, and here we are again in beautiful Winchester, Virginia, to watch some League of Legends. I am joined today by Nolan, Bolin, Ether. How are you feeling today, Nolan?
I'm feeling great, ready for a long, nice best of 5 versus VCU here.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be a bit of an exciting match because VCU is known for having they're pretty good at League of Legends, and when you have a very nice team of League, you get to really focus on the fundamentals of the game, and that's the thing that I love to harp people on. So I am looking forward to this right now. It'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a lot of interesting matchups. We got some interesting picks on jungle. Their VCU jungler likes to play some weird stuff, like the Talia we haven't seen for a while from some people.
Yeah, it's I feel like that pick has just disappeared out of existence. It's interesting.
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about, though, in the bot lane that has been pretty prevalent is this Smolder. Coming into this patch and into this match, Smolder has recently been changed, been nerfed even, to kind of reduce his power since he's been pretty overpowering in both pro play and solo queue.
I'm pretty sure he peaked at like 40% ban rate or something like that at one point. I mean, the character is so oppressive. You have an AD carry who scales inherently, but also can build crit or mage items or bruiser or whatever you really want. And so it is still able to carry with that Elder Dragon-esque burn passive and is able to blast people. Smolder has been such a commanding champion. I'm happy to see that it's going to get, or that it's been hit finally. Do you think we will see it today?
I think VCU will kind of take a fast approach, so I don't think we'll see any Smolder today.
Okay.
But I still think, even if they maybe try it out, I think Smolder, even with the nerfs, he as long as he's let to just farm and take some skirmishes, get those stacks up, still having the ability to have the passive of one of the 2 major objectives in the game, the Elder Dragon, as you were saying, is still pretty strong.
That is fair. And the other big, you have Smolder, your big late game scaler, who has so much pressure and frankly can get those 225 stacks at like 20 minutes if you're like really good. You also have another big name character being hit, but not in a sense of the nerfs. It sounds as though Azir is banned for today's matches. I don't know what glitch has hit the Emperor of Shurima, but that bird is not going to see the light of day, at least for this series. So it should be a bit faster, like you were saying. So we may see some more exciting, maybe some hook champions down in the bot lane, some like Kai'Sa, Nautilus action or something along those lines. Who knows? It could be fun.
Yeah, and I do expect to see the Kai'Sa from either VCU or from Shenandoah. The AP build really taking a lot of popularity, especially in solo queue. You're just able to poke your enemies from God knows how long, and they can't do anything about it. So it does take a little bit of time to scale, but it is definitely quite an impressive build.
Right, you can knock the Statue of Liberty over, lay it on its side, and Kai'Sa will still cover that full distance by just pressing W, which is a whole thing in and of itself. That is, like, that character is another one. The bot lane meta over the last couple of patches has been not necessarily solved, but I feel as though the champion pools have been relatively narrow. Like, we've seen a lot of Smolder, we've seen a lot of Kai'Sa, I've seen Zeri, like, rear its head, but I'm not sure if that's just because the character has had a couple of small changes. I know there was an AP build for that popping around for some reason, but hey, if people are playing it, there has to be a reason, right?
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of those hyperscalers, so the Kog'Maw, the Jinx, the Zeri, a lot of those, the Smolder, a lot of those late game threats have really been popping up, and I'm not sure if that's because they can contest Smolder in some of that late game power, or if games are just inherently getting slower. And I'm not sure, but yeah, a lot of those hyper carries popping back up. We'll see. We might see some Milio or some Lulu or something to really enhance those hyper carries as well.
Yeah, and on that note, we have these hyperscalers in the bot lane. Moving across the map, I do want to talk a little bit more about the mid lane matchup. So you have a hyperscaler taken out, but I feel like mid lane's champion pool has become a little bit more diverse, especially in a competitive environment than it has been. Granted, Hui is still an amazing champion, and I feel as though we will probably see him at least once today, but I feel a lot of control mages have really found their home in this meta, and who knows, we may see that. I doubt we'll see any assassin gameplay. I feel like this is the fewest amount of assassins that I have seen in a long time, which says something because I feel like that's one of the most popular archetypes out there, but who knows? I feel it should be good. It should be good.
Yeah, and the only kind of semi-assassin or like catch-out champion I expect to see here is Ahri. Ahri's been performing quite well, both pro play, solo queue. I'm not sure. I think it might have gotten a slight buff even, but it's been performing pretty well. It goes pretty even in most lanes, so it's just a pretty safe pick overall. I feel as though for the longest time Ahri was in this funny spot. My younger brother would always show me clips of pro players talking about, like, oh yeah, if you pick Ahri in pro play, it's a joke, but this is like a couple seasons ago. Now that that character is popping up again and is able to just dash out charm and not always one cycle you, but for a meta that is the one shots are becoming fewer and fewer, you know, it leads into a whole other side of things. Should be good though. I'm hoping to see that character. I like Ahri. It's as simple as that. Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes down to a while back she got the ability to reset her ulti on takedown. So that plus the new items, you're seeing the Malignant, you're seeing the Lich Bane.
Malignant.
Just being able to have that ult that was already a decently short cooldown, just having it on an even shorter cooldown, it drops this little pool that reduces magic resist. You're just dashing all over. Lich Bane's strong, so you can just dash, dash, auto. You can just be all over, just doing damage without even having to hit your E or your Q. So,
jeez,
it's annoying.
Well, mid lane covered. I do want to focus a little bit more on the top side. We haven't talked much about the players on SU side. If you've been on a League of Legends broadcast or have joined us before, welcome back. It is Shenandoah University's red team, and because of that, you have animated Seosin, Exil, Firm Mattress, and Galaxy Bird. You have all those familiar faces. All players who have really gotten to know each other, have really gotten their strategies going. And because of that, when talking about top lane, it's not easy to pin down, because I feel as though Animated has really diversified his champion pool to whatever the team has wanted. Do you want to neutralize a lane? We got a Karma. Do you want a pure tank? We got a Maokai. Do you want me to try and run the opponent down? We got a little bit of Darius practice. Do you want me to just play what I enjoy? Put you on the team. So there has been so much to see from SU's players, and again, I'm very happy for them. They're getting better. They're doing good. But as we look at what top lane has to offer, you can play just about anything right now. Smolder's coming up there. Like, you can play whatever you want.
Smolder did see a little bit of play in mid and top. I don't expect to see any mid or top Smolder today, especially with the nerfs. But yeah, we even saw some Trundle from Shenandoah's top laner here. But
Grubby priority. Now, I'm curious your thoughts on Grubs recently, because I feel as though when Grubs were released, everybody was talking about, like, can this change up the meta? Can it, like, really shake things up? And, like, are people going to prioritize the Grubs? I feel as though the answer has been, it's not there as a, like, you have to choose either or. Grubs almost feels like my opponent picked an early game champion. They're going to go for the first dragon. We're going to take the Grubs as a substitute, like both junglers working opposite of each other. And that feels healthy, in my opinion, but I don't know. What do you feel? Have the Grubbies had an impact, or what are you feeling about them?
Yeah, so for sure, I think the Grubs offer a nice, healthy, okay, we're just going to trade you. You take Dragon, we take Grubs. Okay, sure, fine. But I think overall, especially with the meta shift, especially down in bot lane, you have the crit changes, you have more of your hyperscalers. Top lane is kind of going more into tanky or bruiser champs. You're starting to see a lot more of the Gnar, stuff like that. So I think those Grubs are just kind of losing value as the meta shifts. I believe those Dragons are just a lot stronger on your scaling champs. So it's like your Jinx, your Kog'Maw. They love just being able to sit there, get Dragons, scale up. That's just the name of the game. So I definitely think Grubs have lost value as the meta has shifted. I don't think they're necessarily bad, especially if you want to do something like 1-3-1, but I definitely think Dragons are a lot stronger.
That's a good point, because not only that, as much as the Grub value is there, it has been fascinating the amount of times on this desk we have seen people grab Rift Herald, hop into that thing, and then completely whiff objectives. I don't know what it is about the Voidborn, but like these creatures, these objective on the top part of the map, people are grabbing it and they're like, oh, what do we do now?
Hey man, they just want to drift. They think they're playing Scion, and they just want to drift.
Oh man.
So.
Speaking of the Skarner rework, man, I am ready, but we won't be seeing that today. If you haven't seen those abilities, go check them out, then come back here. But it's been so much fun to watch. I'm so happy we're finally going to be able to see that character just in a whole different light. But with all that being said, we covered a lot of the roles. SU's red team, walked into this semester with a handful of strategies. They tried to like lay out, okay, we could play a team fight comp, we could play this like wombo combo, or something more poke based, something more side lane based, and they've definitely like tried each strategy, but are starting to sort of narrow down what they want. I've seen a lot of the team fight like wombo combo-y stuff from SU, and that's what we've seen on the last couple of broadcasts, is that they pick like Orianna, Jarvan, engage of some kind, and just hope to blast through the opponent. But what tends to hit SU is gold, money. The CS is what I want people to keep an eye on, as well as if a play is going to be made, what is the wave state on the other part of the map. But I do feel as though the synergy between these players has built. It's just a matter of is it going to be too much from the side of VCU? So. Yeah,
and so Shenandoah, I feel like a lot of these times they go into these drafts, they know what they want to do. They have a hard time executing it because of, like you said, the CS difference or like the gold. They just don't have enough power to execute these plans. So I'd love to see a focus on just, hey, we're just going to CS, we're going to play our fundamentals, we're going to play our game, and then we're just going to execute our game plan. So.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, we've seen like 3-man Orianna ults and stuff like that. The players definitely have a level of understanding for these team fights and know up to like a certain point what they want. But if you can't keep your footing, if you're giving up this early game objective, you need to understand where your power spikes lie. And so as we head into this draft and are starting to see Varus and Zach banned on the side of the blue, and the Yumers and Jinx, I think we're seeing a lot of bot lane bans coming out from the side of VCU.
Yeah, so we have the Varus and the Jinx, two pretty decent mid to late game. The Jinx, obviously, a really, really favorite pick for matchers here.
Yes.
The Yumi kind of accompanying it for a late game enchanter. As we'll see, the Mordekaiser and the Renekton first pick on top.
Oh my goodness, that is a fist fight lane where, frankly, either side can walk away with the win. It is on Mordekaiser to sort of poke out with the Qs for a little bit, and then he can walk up to the wave. But Renekton's whole strategy is generate the Fury off the wave and then try to shred when Mordekaiser goes for his shield. So that matchup should be fun in and of itself. The Taliyah was picked, Nolan. You mentioned it earlier, and there it is.
Yeah, so the Taliyah, a special of Viklele here on VCU's side. Not at all surprised to see that pick come out. But I want to go back to that Renekton Mordekaiser, really a skill matchup. The Renekton having to hold the W to shred that shield. Mordekaiser having to hold that W so that he can bait out Renekton's W. It's all a game of patience. It's just like the Fiora Jax matchup where you're just like, hey, you press it first. You press it first. You're trying to bait out. And yeah.
Oh, man. I love those sort of matchups in the top side. But as we continue to see more of the draft develop, we see the Tristana and Ahri in the mid lane, which is definitely a Tristana bully matchup and something we've seen on this broadcast before. A Tristana with money is very scary. Frankly, any champion with money, but Tristana more so, because suddenly Tristana will leap in and blow you up and then walk away, and it becomes so difficult to deal with. But Exil has been trying to get more practice against the Tristana, and I think that it may pay off here. If there's any time to do it, now is the time. But we also see the bot lane, and I'm curious what you think, because they look very standard on their own.
So the Kog'Maw Lulu, a very kind of legacy pairing here.
Yeah.
Paired a lot in the past. The Kog'Maw got some buffs recently, starting to see a lot of play. And one thing I do want to touch on is that Zyra Khan is kind of known for its early power. Xayah starting W, Rakan also starting W. You get a lot of feathers out, you get a lot of damage, but they need to not underestimate the Kog'Maw Lulu level 1 damage. The Kog'Maw can spit out a lot of damage. The Lulu can enhance him, give him a pretty beefy shield, and so they do need to watch out, especially if the Rakan, if he misses the W, he doesn't have the E level 1 to go back in, so he needs to be really careful to just kind of pace the fight. They can't just go in there all willy-nilly and expect to just win.
Do they... At what point do you think that lane favors Xayah and Rakan?
I think there's... I don't think there's really a point in which it favors either side. I actually do think it's a skill matchup as well, kind of like top lane, where I think both sides can win. I think Xayah definitely gains a lot of power level 2, being able to pull the feathers, getting a lot of her damage. But I do think past that, the Kog'Maw does have a lot of damage and can just space, especially I'm expecting to see the Ghost here.
Yep.
And especially with the W and lethal tempo, he'll have a lot of range, can just kind of space out the Xayah, not allowing her to hit. So it's going to be all dependent on positioning. Positioning is key in this lane.
Okay, that makes sense. There's one other factor in the bot lane that isn't always in the bot lane. I want to go back to the junglers for a second. We talked about the Taliyah. We talked about how it's such a important, like, comfort pick for the side of WVU, but what about the Viego? We've seen Seosin's Viego. We've seen Seosin get a lot of kills early on Viego. What do you feel about that matchup? Because it feels as though on the one hand you have Viego early, which I believe is very strong, and the character only gets stronger with time, but you have Taliyah, and I still am very perplexed by that pick. I mean, I know it has a home in jungle, but the damage numbers, I'm not so sure.
So Taliyah, especially if she gets ahead, will have a lot of damage, but the main point is those rocks that are coming out. It's going to stop the Ahri dash, it's going to stop the Rakan dash, it's going to stop even the Viego W dash. So there's a lot of dashes that she can kind of interrupt, cause chaos in team fights. So it's not exactly, so it will do a lot of damage, but it's not exactly all about the damage. It's about stopping those dashes, interrupting the team fight, throwing those walls to maybe even gank or cut off a route. So
it feels like a Poppy almost. Like you pick it, and yes, it has its moments where it's like, oh wow, that did a little bit more damage than I realized, but you're there more so for a great team fight ability and an ability that stops people from dashing. And what more could you ask for in a League of Legends game, right? We don't enjoy too much mobility, right? That's the whole point. But no, I'm kidding. As we get to see a little bit, we'll be heading into the game shortly. I'm looking forward to seeing, because so many of these lanes are skill matchups, I do expect VCU to sort of take the aggression in these lanes, and it's going to be on Shenandoah. We were talking about the money earlier. If they can keep up that, maybe not even keep up with them, but sort of stay safe while also trying to match that CS, that will be the important factor that really equalizes all of this. But we see a little bit of taunting in the mid lane, and the players are getting ready. So what are we expecting to see? I'm seeing the Taliyah starting to set up the rocks on the bottom half of the map to start pathing into the top side, and the Viego is still sort of mid lane. Do you match, or do you try to go for the other side, maybe put some pressure on the other bot lane?
So I would like to see the Viego path down here. So the bot lane, you have the Rakan CC for early setup. You can blow a lot of flashes. We do see the cleanse come out of the Kog'Maw here instead of the Ghost. So I would love to see Viego kind of path down, try and force some summoners or force a kill down bot lane.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, as we see Fur Mattress and Galaxy Bird starting to walk up, here's this level 1 that you were talking about earlier. And what will we see? The Guardian proc, but not much more than that. Just a little bit of poke damage.
Yeah, so they proc the Guardian and they proc the Bramble, whatever you want to call it, the scales on Rakan there. So he'll take a lot more damage overall if they decide to go in here. Also, I want to talk about mid lane. Exil has to be really careful on the Ahri, especially level 2, because the Tristana should have her jump and the bomb, and is really lethal as the Lulu looking for a kill. And that's that early damage I was talking about, the Lulu flash igniting with Q and E onto the Rakan. It's a lot more damage than you'd expect.
I mean, Lulu playing the aggressive side of that. You expect your AD carries to be the one really walking forward, but Lulu said, no, sir, you have to respect me in this bush. And so as the lanes continue to develop, we do see for Mattress under the tower, animated under the tower. This is playing out how we expected, where VCU is the one playing the aggressive side of this, really pushing in the lanes early. But as we look at the CS numbers, top and mid are doing a good job of keeping up, and the wave just crashed bot, which means those numbers could equalize too. Oh, the pull! Is he able to get close? He isn't. Both players walking away with 100 health, and we see Renekton start the back saying, I am not messing with that anymore. No, sir.
Yeah, and the Q not quite up. We saw it was about 2 or 3 seconds, so no Q flash available from Mordekaiser. Just playing with fire there in the top lane. Vic Lele kind of hovering here, maybe looking for a kill. Could still find it. Is gonna barely gonna find it.
But a return on the other side of the map. Here comes Viego.
And kind of split damage here. The Kog'Maw kind of fighting back, gonna find a kill, gonna cleanse Ignite. The Viego able to find a kill here, as they're gonna look to trade just 1 for 1. As we see another fight on the map from mid lane, it's that Tristana going in, a lot of damage, but return from Ahri being able to get some of that damage back.
Yes, and Ahri still having pots available while Tristana's sitting at 250 health and is just sort of vibing. We do see Renekton start to dash in and is trying to get a little bit of a trade, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. As devastating as the gank top is, again, Animated is keeping up right now, and that's the big point, is that you can't be losing the money just from the early parts of this game. He still has the W up, and look at this extended trade against the Renekton. It's paying off in dividends as the wave is going to start the crash. Does he get this? No. It's too early. I wanted it. I'm a believer. But that Q has like 10-second cooldown early on, which is upsetting.
Yeah, and one thing we do have to look at is that the teleports from both top laners were used after those exchanges. So the Renekton is going to have to kind of sit here, going to try and farm Fury to heal back up off that wave. But also bot lane, all sums were used for all of the VCU side bot lane. And we still have flashes on Shenandoah side. So I'd like to see them do something here as Tristana kind of...
She's walking in, and I think it's... I understand why. You have a Berserker Greaves on your Tristana. Tristana's level 6, can practically one-cycle just about anybody in this game. But Talia's back topside, and Renekton's with the flash. There's the W, and just a little bit of a nice combo to close out that kill onto the Talia. Talia taking both kills topside. And you mentioned this was a comfort pick for the side of VCU. Do you think a Talia with money is able to carry?
Oh, for sure. I think Talia, her cooldowns will become really short. You'll see she picked up a Dark Seal here to start stacking. Could become a Magi's later, giving her a lot of movement speed. As we see a potential gank in the mid lane, nothing going to come of it. But the Talia, I think she can get around the map a lot quicker than most people think. You have the Talia passive, which gives her movement speed if she runs along walls. If she does end up scaling enough and getting those 10 stacks and upgrading to the Magi's, you also get the 10% movement speed buff for having at least 10 stacks. So she will just be flying around the map, just being able to kill everyone she sees.
Oh, but we have another fight potentially breaking out here. 2 fights, Nolan. Oh, boy.
as the Mordekaiser kind of kidnaps the Talia here, but I don't think it's going to be enough as there's another person coming down. That will be the Tristana. The wall cutting off any path that Mord has, as the Renekton will just clean up another kill there. Viego looking for a bot lane gank here. Meanwhile, going to get slowed by the Kog'Maw E. They're looking for a kill. Split damage again. Lulu looking to kill the Xayah. Gonna find it. The Ignite going down. They're looking for a kill to get the reset. They're not going to get it. Lulu's living on 1 health. Does have to flash soon. The Polymorph going to come out. The shield not going to be enough. Going to be a double kill for the Kog'Maw. And a really unfortunate turn of events for Shenandoah.
Oh, those are the kind of plays that just kind of hurt a little bit. I love SU going for the counter gank bot. You hear Animated fighting in the top side against 3 people, and having Viego go down bot and try to get that gank was definitely the right play. But when you're splitting that damage, it just adds up to so much. And frankly, if either player, either Rakan or Viego, turned back on that Lulu just a minute earlier, that one auto attack earlier would have taken that 100 health at that moment. And so while it's unfortunate, you are still in a pretty good spot and able to bring this back. The gold difference is about an item's worth, about 4K-ish. And while that does seem problematic, a lot of it is on the Talia, and the rest is on the Lulu and the Cog. While that is a dangerous beast to be dealing with, you have a Ahri, a Mord, and a Viego who can jump on that Kog'Maw and try to shut them down.
Yeah, and we'll see VCO trying to take this first dragon here. As I want to go back to that bot lane fight we were just talking about as well. It seems like the focus keeps being split. The Rakan keeps trying to go back further, as the Xayah and the Viego aren't quite as far, not being able to follow up on that knock-up. So I think they just need to coordinate better on who they're going on, and they can find those kills, find those resets for Viego, and be a lot more successful in those ganks as, wow, Renekton just being able to find that kill, lots of damage from that Fury.
Yeah, and while you do have the tabbies and you are able to keep that fight going for a little bit longer, I think it just came down to the fact that it lasted just a little too long. Renekton was able to ult, generate the instant 50 Fury, and was able to get that very nice shred Q. But the Viego is topside and is also getting Chunk having to ult out. The Ahri dashes in and gets a cleanup. We see a fight bot side too. The Polymorph.
Oh, and really low. The tower shot heated up, finding another shot onto the Kog'Maw, but not quite enough. But they do get the shutdown on the Viego, which can be lethal later on, being able to get those resets. So
right, and we do see the gold here. I mean, we're starting to see where the bleeding is lying. Yes, they've been keeping up in the CS, but the AD carry is down almost half of the gold that Kog'Maw has. Lulu in a similar boat. Mid lane keeping up in the momentum. Viego, same deal, but the real person bleeding right now is that Mordekaiser, who has been just in the wrong place, wrong time, and it's so unfortunate, but I digress as a fight breaks out.
Yeah, we see the Lulu ult coming onto herself just to protect herself. The Kog'Maw not having too much mana, but shouldn't be too much of an issue, as we see Renekton and the Tristana kind of chasing Viego out of their red side jungle here. As the tower dive going, Galaxy Bird going to barely be falling, as Firm Mattress trying to find a kill. Vic Lele taking the tower aggro, and they're able to secure 2 more kills and the tower on bot side.
Yes, and we do see Talia with the Magi's in the inventory is starting to rack that up. We do see Tristana going for a quick jump in, the Ahri Charm coming out just for a quick trade, and I imagine that's the play pattern for most of this lane. But as the money is starting to fall into the carry's hands, we do see Kog'Maw with the Blade of the Ruined King, as well as Renekton with the Eclipse. It's putting up so much value, and as the objectives start to continue on the map, it'll only be a matter of are SU's players able to get an item of their own to start and match in these fights.
Yeah, and this Talia going up topside again. Really not liking this Mordekaiser up here, trying to get this Renekton ahead. But one thing I really want to touch on is an interesting choice from the support on VCU's side, the Dawn Core first item.
Oh, very interesting. And frankly, an item I don't see very often.
Yeah, so usually supports you're going to see maybe like an Ardent, especially for your Kog'Maw, or like a Staff of Flowing Water, or Imperial, or even the one that speeds you up. But Dawn Core usually being seen as like a third item. Interesting to see first here.
Yeah, and man, look at the vision that VCU has around the map. Able to tell where Viego is at almost all times. We saw the counter earlier on the red, and as Viego walked into the river, I mean, it was one control ward after another. But we are starting to see topside just a couple of nice trades falling into the favor of Animated, but there's a Taliyah behind the tower and an Eclipse Renekton, which deals so much damage.
So we also see a fight mid here. Kog'Maw trying to fight for his life, but Viego able to pick one up. Lulu trying to pick one up as well, able to get it with the Kog'Maw passive as they trade 1 for 2 here in the favor of Shenandoah, as Exil trying to look for a kill. The flash coming out, but still able to find the shutdown onto the Tristana. Well played. Not able to find the outplay from Damien there. Vic Lele trying to find some, oh my gosh, a lot. God. And there's that damage, 19 stacks of Medjais as Vic Lele trying to run down Seosin. Gonna pop that wall, should have enough here.
Oh,
barely.
It's so close.
Is gonna find the kill at 23 stacks of Medjais now. This Taliyah hurts.
Yeah, I apologize for doubting. This looks like a very strong and just commanding champion, but another pick in the mid lane may show it even more.
Oh my gosh, and that Polymorph really slowing down the shield, and the Guardian able to make Firm Mattress survive there, barely. And whew, the amount of damage they have on the side of VCU is staggering.
Yes, and while the money is starting to fall even more in VCU's favor, I do want to acknowledge that it doesn't feel as bad as it could be.
Oh. And gonna really nice reaction from the Ahri there, able to ult out as you're getting polymorphed. The polymorph is actually a projectile, so you have a little bit of time, able to also dodge those rocks. So really, really nice reaction time from Exil here, as Sausen gonna get caught out by this Renekton. I don't know if she's gonna be able to escape, gonna burn the flash, but Renekton's gonna flash in response. A kill going over to Great on the Renekton.
Yeah, and while that's happening, the dragon is being taken by VCU in response. So now we are starting to see the dragons falling into the hands of VCU, and we were talking about it earlier, the value that that objective brings. An Inferno blazes across the map, which means that now this damage that we're seeing, this almost full stacked Magi's Taliyah, if this game goes on for much longer and these dragons fall into their hand, that Taliyah is going to become one of the most heavy AP burst champions we will see. It will be crazy.
And that's not even talking about this Kog'Maw 5-2, about to finish Terminus.
Yeah.
And you see the Rabadon's death cap almost complete on the Taliyah. There's just so much damage on the side of VCU.
Taliyah had those two components, had the Hex Tech and the Wisp, but just decided, you know what, I'm going for the double blasting one. I'm dealing good damage. Why not make it even better? That feels bold.
Yeah, deciding not to complete the item there. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if that's Shadow Flame or something else, but just deciding to pick up the two needlessly large rods. Just saying, hey, Alternator's a good component. I'll just sit on it. As we see Collapse maybe first team fight here, the Herald already basically dead, though.
Oh, they want it. Look at the way they are sitting in that bush.
The minefield already down from the Taliyah. Not able to get a whole bunch of damage. The Lulu speed up onto the Renekton. Going to try and find the Viego. Knock up onto the Mordekaiser. They're going to take the Taliyah hostage, but that's not going to go too well for the Mordekaiser here. as Talia now at 25 stacks of that Magi's.
Ooh, full stacks, and while that kill won't be enough to get you your Magi's, we do see Talia starting to play away on the top side of the map, trying to get that item, or trying to get the Rabadons, excuse me. With that, this is your time most likely to try and engage something, but at the same time, look at the Kog'Maw damage.
Oh, and able to find the charm, the cleanse being able to push it out. Another charm coming in from the Rakan, not able to kill, as the Talia dismounting the wall, able to just burst the... Oh my gosh! Not able to find the kill on the Galaxy Bird. The Renekton coming in on the Herald, able to knock up Viego and find the kill. What is happening?
That worked! There's no way that worked. We were talking about nobody knows how to control the Rift Herald, and then suddenly someone gets the knockup and the tower hit. Are you kidding me? Oh, man.
Wow, a lot of things just happened there. As Brugge on the Kog'Maw here, able to just skirt around, having the Lulu speed and the Lulu auto, just able to auto everything. Not in danger here as they are looking to take 2 inhibitors. And they may even try and look for the end. The Kog'Maw just unstoppable, dodging the charm, just firing away.
Oh my goodness.
As they find another kill from the Tristana, chasing down the Viego. They're hammering away at that bottom turret. Could be still looking for the end here. Renekton fighting unkillable, it seems, as they hammer away at the top turret now. The Nexus exposed as they're looking for an end here at 1830.
Oh my goodness, and we do see players dashing in, trying to respond, but the damage is just too much, and because of that, it falls into the hands of VCU for game number 1. A very strong showing for VCU to start this off.
Yeah, for sure, and that Kog'Maw doing a lot of damage, doing 17,000 damage here. The Talia doing 12,000, just a lot of damage overall. And I'm pretty sure Talia had more than enough gold to finish that Rabadons if she were to have backed.
Jeez, man. I apologize that I doubted. In every game, I'm usually the biggest advocate for trying something new. But I was like, yeah, there's no way that this Talia is going to do anything too crazy. And then suddenly the rocks are feeling like boulders. It's feeling like an avalanche. And it just put on so much damage.
And as our favorite show, SpongeBob, says, it's not just a boulder, it's a rock.
It's a rock.
Is that Talia able to have a commanding presence over seemingly all lanes there.
Yeah. And oh, man. I do feel a lot of that lead, it definitely felt like it came from the top side of the map. And that goes against what we were hearing earlier. From what we had heard through the scouting is that a lot of the time VCU plays through their bot lane, but this time around the exact opposite happened. SU sending Viego down bot to try and get this early lead, but a little bit of split damage really made it so that Kog'Maw had a lead of his own alongside the top side of the map. The Renekton and the Talia able to sit pretty, and it just sort of snowballed.
Yeah, and I really did like that the Viego did that path from top to bot, was able to look for a counter gank on the bot side. Really good timing there, but that Kog'Maw Lulu were just, they played really, really well. Were able to kind of flash out of that Recon W, just flash out of whatever they needed to, and just kind of space them as we're saying. So.
Yeah, and I mean, as we look back at these fights, I don't feel like they were, like, there were definitely moments of sunshine for SU. Viego getting the shutdown on the Lulu. I mean, the money was definitely falling into good hands, but I feel as though it was just not fast enough. It's then, as much as we harp on it on this broadcast, gold has such a huge impact in this game. because that is just where all your money lies. And it definitely hit the wall, Nolan. There is no way that Rip Herald did not hit the wall.
Yeah, and we saw that Herald come all the way from top lane, too.
That is... Oh, man. I love this community sometimes. Always getting creative. But as we see the game close out, I do think going into the next game, the biggest thing, because it's a lot of that early game was played really well. Like the Kog'Maw, Lulu level 1, yes, Rakan got poked out a little bit, but it didn't feel awful. Same thing topside. Like it was a lot of just like the very early, like the first 3 levels felt fine. It was once junglers started to get involved that things started to like go awry. And so going into this next game, I'm hoping that SU's players aren't beating themselves up too much. Take that mental reset, take a deep breath, because frankly, they played very well for the hand that they were given. It's just a matter of going into this next game and having a better understanding of, like, making sure if we're going to make these plays, our damage is going to the same spot. And if my jungler is on the bottom half of the map, I am not walking too far up in mine on the other half of the map. So.
Yeah, and exactly what you're saying. Like, the Mordekaiser looked good, just overstepped a little bit, was susceptible to some of those Talia ganks. And, yeah, they just need to focus their damage on bot lane, and it looks so much better. So I definitely do not lose hope on the side of SU. Just got to fix just a few things.
Yeah, exactly. And for a team that is known for being so commanding and has such a strong presence, I am very happy with how SU did so far with this, because that is very scary when you have that sort of image in your head of like, this team is known, like, oh my goodness, they're known, like, run, hide, they're going to tell their followers. But with all of that, if you're able to take that deep breath, if you are able to understand, like, they're still players at the end of the day. Like, frankly, it could just be that I'm growing at the same pace they are, but I just haven't realized that just yet. It can fall into your hands, and we saw it there. Just a couple of really small mistakes, the kind of mistakes that you can fix going into the next game, and it'll fall into your lap. So hopefully, as we continue forward, I do think the next game has the potential to be even closer than this one was.
Yeah, and like, that's why, especially in team games like this, upsets happen all the time. You don't have to be like on the same step. You just have to be on the same step as your team. Right. So as long as they are playing together, especially on that bot lane, like, they can make some plays here, and I would love to see that, because they are this close. They just need to fix those small things. So I have a lot of hope here going into game 2.
And I really like, because in the last couple of League of Legends broadcasts for this team, we have seen down on the bot side that if one person is going down, frankly, the other person should be fighting alongside them. And in the last couple of broadcasts, we didn't see that. Sometimes it was just one person fighting and the other person was just too far away or was in this awkward spot before they finally get into the fight. A lot of this, it was either we get these kills together or we go down together. And that's it's a dangerous mentality, but it's the right mentality in a bot lane where all of your plays need to be on the same page, on the same wavelength, because then everything falls into place. It just feels a lot better, a lot smoother. So I am very happy with what we saw from the bot lane. With those couple of small fixes, that should be good. We haven't talked much about the mid lane. That went a lot smoother than I thought it would.
Yeah, for sure. So the Ahri was able to play kind of safe, like we were talking about, the Tristana not finding too many windows to kind of W in, get a lot of damage onto the Ahri, and really look for any kills. We saw the Ahri, by the time the Ahri picked up that kill on Trist, I believe she was 0-0-1, I believe, and able to go 1-0-1, so really able to neutralize that lane. That's kind of what Ahri does. So really props to Exil for being able to play that lane correctly.
Yeah, and I feel as though Exil when put on a carry champion, definitely has that presence. And I'm not saying that Ahri isn't. We were talking about Ahri before that game because the champion is wild. But I do think if given another champion, potentially like Yone or something along those lines, something with a big team fight presence, I feel as though Exil is definitely consistent enough to keep up and frankly could be the factor that would turn those fights, because a lot of the fights we saw throughout that last game, Exil was on the other half of the map, like farming up with the Tristana, just enjoying life, but that's not going to be enough when your team is behind. As much as I would love to kick my feet up and relax, you just can't do that. You got to get a little risky with the plays that you're making, because otherwise it's just going to be a slow bleed out and you have to stop that bleeding.
Yeah, and one thing I would like to see, if we're going to see something like the Ahri again, is trying to push out those waves, trying to find those roam timers, because a lot of those like 3v2s on bot side could have been like even just hard won just by the Ahri coming down, has a lot of mobility, can really help secure some of those ganks. So I'd love to see just trying to get on some of those roam timers.
Yeah, and you want to talk about really messing with your opponent's head. Everybody has a plan for the lane phase, whether you're new to the game or not. It can be as simple as, I'm just going to go in there and farm, to I know exactly what I'm going to do for the first 4 waves every single time. But the factor that sometimes can really throw a wrench in everything is those roam timers, is suddenly there is someone who is not supposed to be there. You're the one writing the story, and then suddenly there is a whole character on the page that you didn't even write. It can be drastic, and it can change the story. So as we head into the draft, we immediately see Shenandoah banning the Taliyah, wanting to change that story.
Yeah, and I definitely do not blame them for that Taliyah ban. They had 3 dashes last game. The Taliyah was everywhere, having that extra movement speed, having the wall, just annoying to Shenandoah's comp. So I really do like that ban. We also see the Darius and the Zac from Shenandoah, and kind of 2 of the same bans from VCU, also with the Gnar ban.
There's an Alawi in the top half of the map, Nolan.
Whoa.
It's been a minute since I've seen that character, and it should be mentioned that when these drafts happen, it is through Draftable, and because of that, I'm starting to see where that pick may have come in mind. I think they saw the Jax and said, what do you want to counterpick the Jax into? And Alawi Jax is pretty nice for Alawi. But then suddenly it gets moved into the jungle and you have a ranged top laner, and Alawi is not feeling good.
Yeah, and I'm thinking the same thing here. That Jax and just any sort of flex pick so powerful when you're drafting, able to kind of bait out picks, kind of confuse your opponent. It's like, whoa, where's this going? It can go here, but I have to pick something for this lane. So it's really nice flex power on that Jax, able to bait out the Alawi into the Jace matchup.
Yeah, and as well, I do want to acknowledge there's a Kennen mid lane. Now, that is something that you don't see very often nowadays, but Exil mains Kennen, loves Kennen, has a shuriken tattooed on his arm. That character, if you're going to put Exil on a carry like we were mentioning before and really have that team fight influence, there is no better character than Kennen, and you're matching against a Nico.
Yeah, and for sure, Exil, this Kennen, his pocket pick, just really comfort on it. He really picked this up. I know he's a big Fnatic fan, picked this up a lot from Reckles when he was playing it, especially the ADC Kennen. So he's definitely a big fan of the Kennen, very comfortable on it. As we see the Zyra Khan on VCU's side, it's like, okay, we're going to show you how this is done.
Yeah, we don't see either the Lulu or the Kog'Maw ban. I'm assuming because they were on red side, the first pick was chosen and they just said, slam the Zyra Khan. It's a great combo and it works perfectly. So by all means, take what's good. And so on the other side, we do see Rel and Kai'Sa. That is a lane that admittedly I don't know much of. I know the Kai'Sa is good, but I also see that the Rel is sitting in the AD carry position.
Yeah, so it looks like just the ADC and support players got swapped there. So
okay.
Shouldn't be anything too crazy there. But the Rel is going to really try and enable these team fights. Going to go in. Her Q also really good for lane. Going to be able to, if you can respond in time, can stop that Rakan W, can put a lot of damage down, especially able to put on the Kaisa stacks of those plasma. So it can be a very volatile lane again, but
yeah. It feels definitely not one-sided, which is good. The other big pick that I feel as though the meta has been revolving around and has been slowly creeping up in popularity, there's a bear in the jungle. And that's, in real life, that's normal. But in League of Legends, you usually see Volibear more so in the top side. He was definitely designed intentionally for the jungle. But I wonder if something similar happened where it was like, we pick the Volibear early and we can flex it on the other side. But also the character's just really good right now. Plays like a drain tank, which is like not unheard of, but like very close to unheard of in League. There are very few characters who have that much built-in healing in their kit and can still see the light of day in a competitive environment. Don't see a lot of Vlad anymore. You don't see... Briar has fallen off in popularity. You do see Aatrox.
yeah, kind of on and off.
Yeah, but Volibear is a very solid, very strong champion right now, but is in the jungle against a Jax. And when when two of your abilities are enhanced auto attacks, and Jax can sit there twirling his staff and saying, I have no idea what you're trying to do, and stun you back, it can play a little awkward. So I'm hoping to see SU play this. If they're going to go in, you got to go in on either the Jace, the Nico, or the Xayah, and it's hard to go in on a Xayah. But on the other side of that, VCU has such a great poke comp potential where you got Jace shooting Blast, you got Nico shooting Seed, and you have Xayah shooting the Feathers, and just keeping your opponents at a distance, really controlling space. It's going to be on SU to either jump in and say you're not allowed to get any control of this objective early, or they have to give it, basically. If VCU gets there before SU does, it's not going to be easy to get close.
Now, the one thing I am a little worried about on this side of Shen is that you have a lot of short range, a lot of melees, a lot of we want to clump together, we don't want to clump you together. But then you have Nico, who loves to be in the midst of everything. So Shenandoah really does have to be aware of where this Nico is, really has to be careful about that Nico ult, or else there's going to be quite a few five-man pop blossoms.
Right. Here's a fun thing for you, viewers. Can you count? Because when playing against Nico, that is what you have to do. You have to count your waves every single time, because that character can transform into your minions. And when that happens, you're unsuspecting. You're like, oh, there's a minion wave walking towards me. There's a cannon minion. And then, oh my goodness, it's a Nico, and then you explode. So...
Yeah, I know we've definitely been subject to the Nico treatment, having to count minions, and we've fallen victim to it a few times, so...
Hey, it happens, and it's the kind of thing that, you keep it in the back of your mind, and you shouldn't have any problems. If it does happen in a game, it usually doesn't happen twice, as long as everyone is on the same page and communicating that. But we do see a little bit of a trade in the mid lane. We can hear behind us the jungler saying, I am so sorry for doing that. I didn't mean it. But there is there's this Volibear just, throwing out the poke, kind of vibing. And we see this bot lane. Who wins this level 1? Because if they're sitting in that bush, Xayah Rakan feels as though they win it.
I want to say Xayah Rakan wins it as well, but it really depends on what the rel starts, because you get the shield from the W, you can get the knockups, you get the plasma stacks, but I still don't think they should opt for that trade, and it looks like they won't.
Right, and we do see Alawi opting to leash for the Volibear, which is fine because we see the Tentacle Smash get the first 3 CS, but that does mean that there are no tentacles set up in the lane to start this, which means Jace is going to have a lot of free reign topside, but the lanes are playing out like this to start, and the players are definitely playing how they're supposed to. Rakan getting a little close as the level 2s are in.
Yeah, so looking for the kill on this Rel here. Going to get rooted up. Not able to W in time, so should be able to barely not going to be able to find the kill on the Rakan. The potion's ticking there as Firm Metra's kind of able to deal back some damage, but first blood going over to the Xayah.
And that's the level 2 classic. You need to keep track of when you and your opponent hit their level ups, because then you can have all-ins like that. But we do see Xayah and Rakan staying a little long, and there's a bear trying to walk down into the bot lane.
And this might end up in Xayah just dying here. I don't see any way Xayah gets out in time here.
The ghost is popped, and Rakan is walking.
The Q did expire. Gonna be able to find a kill onto the Kai'Sa, trading the flash coming out, and looks like Xayah might just be able to walk out.
Yeah, very good flash and ghost burn by the Xayah.
Also the jungler, the Jax coming down here, but the Xayah is still going to be found by the Volibear, gaining a lot of speed after that ghost expires from the Volibear Q, able to catch up and cut her down.
And that is honestly not horrible for the side of SU, but we do see another fight breaking down.
Oh, and getting baited, flashing onto the Nico, getting baited by the low, seemingly Xayah, but the Nico's still at about 3/4 HP, and that's the power of the camouflage.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about transforming into minions, but there's a whole other metagame about changing into characters. You can try to act like you're low HP, you can try to act like you're about to dash in, but all of it is the same. Nico will pop out, and Nico will be Nico. So as we continue to see these lanes play out, we do see the CS still staying relatively close. A little bit of poke on the bottom half of the map, and Xayah Feathers trading as Rel jumps in.
They still do have a big wave on blue side here, so not opting to all in there. As we see a really good trade from the Jace up top. The Jax going to be able to flash, not able to get the E, but shouldn't result in anything from there. Ooh, the Jax getting really close to be finding a kill onto the Kai'Sa, but still had the flash. So no sums bot lane anymore.
Yes, and we look back topside to see the Alawi lane, and this is where it gets a little bit risky. We do see the E used by Alawi and the phase rush, allowing Jace to run away. It has worked out shockingly well for Alawi, being able to sort of trade back with the tentacles, able to land the E's, because yes, while Jace can just shoot it out with projectiles, the moment he switches into that physical hammer form is where it suddenly allows for a bigger play, and you have to walk straight. So when you walk straight, Alawi says, nope, I'm taking your soul. And it goes well from there.
Now, an interesting thing people may not have noticed, as I'll talk about that after, bot lane looking for an engage, but nothing gonna happen. Rakan very slippery, just looking to trade on wards here. Looking again, won't have the W, but will have the E. Barely able to escape to Xayah here. A lot of damage on the Rakan. But back to what I was saying before, what people may not have noticed is the items on Jax, opting for AP Jax.
Oh, whoa.
Whoa, and able to find a kill on the Xayah. Not exactly sure how that happened, but nice find for Shenandoah's bot lane as the Maelstrom coming out mid lane, able to stun into the Volibear. The Pop Blossom not quite coming out. So the Nico won't have that ult. The ult wasted and able to find a kill onto mid lane.
And that is great to hear. We do see, I mean, if you want your money falling anywhere, you want it on that Kennen. But at the same time, we are seeing a little bit more of a fight topside, just a little bit of a scrap. Alawi able to sort of keep up despite the amount of pressure that Jace brings. As we do see on the bottom half of the map, Jax sitting around the Dragon Pit trying to look for something, and a half health bot lane may mean a play is made.
Yeah, and opting to pop the Ghost here, not gonna quite get out, but able to dodge the E. The Xayah able to find the kills though, even with the Jax E, not quite hitting the Xayah, or the Kaisa, excuse me. And 2-0 Jax and some kills onto Xayah.
I am very fascinated by the AP Jax pick, and I'm hoping to see like it bear fruit as this game continues. But it's had a small problem so far, and that he hasn't landed all of his E's. He keeps proccing them just a little too early, and thus the damage, where a lot of that value comes in, is not applying. But there's a bear in the top side of the map now, and Great is in a very awkward spot.
Oh, and trying to get out, able to get the movement speed from the gate. Exil able to find the Q into flash auto there to pick up a small shutdown from the Jace.
Yeah, now here's a fun thing for you. When a Kennen gets money against VCU's comp, who is stopping Kennen from running in? Because I feel like the answer would be, oh, Rakan goes in and then dashes back. But you don't have like a tank to like really keep this Kennen away. It's a matter of, yes, you have to dodge all that poke, but I don't know. These team fights late game might become really scary if Kennen keeps getting this money.
Yeah, Kennen with a lot of money will just be able to slice through all of these teams, not really tank as you're saying. The Rakan might just have to try and charm and just keep them there, but if Kennen's able to find some flanks, nice tentacle onto the Jace, just finding a little bit of damage, kind of proxying the wave here. So it shouldn't be too much coming of that.
Yeah, they're staying topside, and that wave should be crashing in theory, but now Jax is here to respond, and we may see a fight break out topside.
Dodging the Q through the Hex Gate. Nico as the minion. Pop Blossom flashing. Gonna find the... Not too much damage.
Yeah.
Gonna be able to find the flash from the Alawi, but not too much more. So, as bot lane trying to look, the Rakan tanking, able to find the shield, gonna tank the Xayah, but goes back and gets autoed.
And that is all good, but we do have money falling onto the AD carry. We were talking about how good it is for the money to fall onto the mid lane, but now we're seeing it fall onto carries again. Oh my goodness!
Oh, and really close to Vic Lele, taking another shot there. Great, trying to find the EQ onto the Alawi, not quite able to. There's a bear here, barely able to find it. The volley bear, Storm coming down and crushing out Jax's life there.
I mean, that was a second away from Jax being able to get away with a very aggressive play. But at the same time, we do see an item completed on the mid side and a fight breaking down bot side. Ult's flying.
Ooh, and the Rel not quite able to escape there. Rakan with a really nice R and then was able to EW off the Xayah. So quite a long-range engage, not quite expecting it. As they're looking for a dive, the W Rakan tanking up and should be able to live there. The tower not quite heated up. And they should be able to find first tower as on the opposite side of the map, they're looking for grubs.
Yeah, you do have an Alawi and a bear, but at the same time, Volibear using the Q to run away, saying, I am not wanting to run towards these grubs right now. And they do have the Kennen in mid lane, but I think Volibear is sitting on a lot of gold. He's 4-1, but is sitting on one item, almost 2,000, almost 3,000 gold, excuse me, in Volibear's pocket. It needs to be spent sometime soon. Otherwise, it could lead to a very awkward fight.
Yeah, Xayah herself also spending about 2,000 gold there on the back. Able to pick up some items, some item components there. The Volibear looks like he's backing. We'll be able to see what he's opting for. Gonna opt for the Sundered Sky and some boots.
Yes, and it's worth noting the build. Oh, fight breaking out. Nico's there.
Ooh.
You didn't count to... You didn't count the wave, and suddenly there's a Nico popping up. That's the thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, the Rakan able to find a comboing with the Pop Blossom there for just a ton of CC. Kennen not able to escape, no flash there. Rakan just looking for a little bit of damage, a little skirmish, but the bear is here. Gonna Xayah ult, Oh, and a really nice flash to bring the feathers around. Gonna kill the Kaisa, looking to turn back. Gonna have a teleport coming in from Exil, but just gonna have to run away. A ton of damage coming out. And Galaxy Bird's gonna have to keep running. They're gonna keep chasing here. Exil with the Slicing Maelstrom could pop it, but not able to find anything. Xayah actually killing Rel, and Jace finding a kill onto Alawi in the top lane.
Yeah, and that felt like a very solid play to start, but when making a call out like that with the Volibear ulti, it was used to try and say you're going to land right here, but Xayah still had the flash and was able to very well execute a flash away towards the Kennen TP to start. And while Kennen was able to sneak out of that, you don't expect him to sneak out of that, which means that Volibear tried to walk forward and really keep up that movement, but it just didn't pay off.
Oh, and here comes the Flash R, able to find a lot of damage onto the Kaisa. Really nice little auto attack cancel there from the Rakan. Make sure not to steal the KO there. Yeah. But yeah, opting to use the Flash, the ulti. Jack's not going to be able to find anything there.
Bro, these Jaxies, come on, brother. I want to see this AP action, but I am just... it's not quite there yet. So as we see the Magi's is on the Jax, it is 2 stacks. We've seen complete items on the side of VCU, but SU is able to keep up in terms of full item completion. It's just now the awkward point of if VCU has enough of a lead that they can continue buying the items on tempo. And so if you're going to look for your play, you want to look for it now while you're relatively even before both sides, or before VCU has 2 items while you're stuck on your 1 and some components.
Yeah, and I want to touch on, so Vic Lele opting for the Magi's again this game. Not quite having as many kills as he did last game, so going to be a bit slower, not going to have that movement speed quite yet. But definitely interesting. Yeah,
it's like, it definitely feels like definitely, they should be feeling good after the Talia game. By all means, you did incredibly well, but it feels a little bit like you're feeling too good. Like, hey, y'all want to see this crazy thing I've been cooking up? Because while, yes, you have the 2 kills, and yes, you see the Baus play this in Challenger, doesn't mean it always works out how you want it to, as we do see Rakan in a bit of an awkward spot.
Yeah, and Rakan's still a bit slippery, should be able to eat to the
Xayah here,
goodness. But the Rel ult really nice, but the Xayah feathers breaking through everyone for a lot of damage here. Xayah for a triple kill and able to get a lot of damage onto the Kennen here. They should be able to have a free Herald here, with still pushing mid. Jax is going to split off to get that Herald, as I don't see how they're going to stop this Xayah.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. You need a front line to be soaking up that initial burst, but Volibear isn't in that spot yet. You have the Sundered Sky, but it's just not enough.
You'll see that Nico interaction actually interesting there. The Nico was as a minion, so the Alawi Tentacle not actually catching the Nico Spirit, because you can't target minions.
Oh, I hate that. You're kidding.
So interesting little interaction there. That's why you see the E missing off the Alawi from animated there. I don't think too many people know that interaction.
No, I wouldn't. I didn't even know that. I love playing that character. Like, that is ugh. But as we do see Jax trying to finish the Rift Herald, and we do see Volley getting the counter jungling off. I'm hoping to see more tank stats from the Volibear as this game continues, because I do think that the damage from the Kennen in a good team fight will be enough to take a KO and potentially secure a shutdown on either the Jace or the Xayah. But until then, I mean, Alawi, who's supposed to be strong in these side lanes, can't keep up the momentum on some of these players, and because of that, we will cut away for just a moment. A small technical difficulty, but I do want to acknowledge that the gold differences we were seeing were all falling onto the carries. We see Kaisa 2 completed items. We see Jace 2 completed items, and it's getting to that scary point because Alawi doesn't do amazing in a team fight setting, especially when you have so much poke. You want her in a side lane, but who is she going to beat in that side lane?
Yeah, and the mid lane and the jungle for the side of Shenandoah really able to, they're holding on right now, but the top lane and the bot lane really bleeding out a lot of resources. That Xayah just so incredibly strong. You see completing that Navori quick blade, 3 items. Usually people say, okay, Xayah, once she reaches 3 items, is a monster, and especially this early into the game, 17 minutes being able to hit those 3 items. It's really hard to come back from this.
Absolutely. And I mean, you said it. There's a reason why our AD carry says every single time when the 3 items are online, he says, I'm huge. So it is because you are a beast to be reckoned with. And because of that, if these team fights play out like the one we saw earlier in the mid lane where these feathers are set up in such a great spot, it can really spell the end from Shenandoah. It doesn't matter how strong your cannon is. But we do see 4 people in the mid lane and interesting engage from the side of the bot lane, trying to get a little bit of potential poke. And Alawi trying to fight the Jace as well. Will we see a potential fight back? No, as the mid inhib falls.
Yeah, and Rel getting caught out, just being way too far forward, got a little antsy, maybe thinking they were caught out. The Volibear also just too far forward. Nice flash from the Kaisa as the Pop Blossom and all the other damage will just find Exil there. Rel was respawning, but not able to find much as the Rift Herald spawned. Xayah going to be hopping in. Might be able to see the Herald dance here.
Yep, it looks like a Herald dance finish.
As VCU picks up the win at 19:05.
Yeah, and again, talk about a commanding game. I mean, the money is falling into this AD carry's hands, but at the same time, we expected this pressure bot lane where it's like you play through your bot lane, and generally that means like everything is going there, like, oh, secure the money in whatever ways you can. But this AD carry is a very good player and has been securing the leads almost on their own. Obviously, bot lane is a duo lane, but like you get the idea, is that they haven't need a lot of outside help to really secure it, and that just shows the skill of the player. Like, very good.
And because of this, they're allowing the jungler Vic Lele on the VCU side. He can just keep going top, keep going top, keep going top, getting all those resources for top lane, while bot lane is getting all those resources by themselves. So both the solo lane and top lane and both the bot lane are getting tremendous amounts of resources. And there's like, hey, mid, you can go neutral. We have all these resources in both these lanes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel bad for what we saw early on because the draft, while it felt relatively good for both sides, there was that awkward point of picking that Alawi early in that draft, and I think it caused problems.
Like this,
I think that lane fell apart, and again, it allowed for a lot of money to be earned very early on, and these teams we have seen are so good at snowballing these leads, but as we see in these replays, it's just the little things. Once again, little itty bitty things.
Yeah, and just I would have loved to see Shenandoah at least try and fight over objectives, try and get into this team fight, because they have Rel, they have this Kennen, they have teleport on the Kennen, look for flanks. I would have loved to see them try and at least force a team fight for something, because that's what their comp really revolves around. But they were just not able to get out of this sort of lane phase state of the game and really just not able to act on their comp.
Right, and I do think on top of that, we did see moments of sunshine in the top side. I mean, you had Animated did incredibly well for the hand he was dealt, but just couldn't find an opportunity for that follow-up. And while we did see one fight break out potentially for that Rift Herald, I mean, look at the feathers. Boom! Oh. It was so much damage, and because of that, I worry that it's getting in SU's heads just a little bit too much of like, oh, they deal too much damage. Can we really fight it? Oh, we need the money. And while, yes, you can secure that money in the side lane, there comes a point, again, where you almost need to get risky with the plays that you're making, because otherwise it's going to slowly bleed out.
Yeah, I would also love, as we see Shenandoah take red side here, I would love to see them try and get top lane counter pick here, just so, because like I feel like in both of these games, first one you had a skill matchup, second one the top laner didn't really get to play because you had those flex picks. So I'd love to see top laner get something comfortable, something on counter pick, so that they don't have to worry as much about the top lane, or they can even bring resources up there and get top lane ahead. Because at this point, even for last game, top lane was just sort of struggling just because of the matchup, and the Jax really didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I feel as though Animated has not had the chance he deserved to shine. We have done scrims in-house before where we get to play against each other and sort of give each other pointers, and Animated has a very strong lane, but top lane is very matchup dependent. There are so many people that I have become very good friends with who are suckers for counterpick, and because of that, it can really change the momentum of how the whole top half of the map is working. You want grubs early? Give your top laner the counter pick so that they can control the wave state stronger and better, because then you will have that full early control and then snowball it later. It's up to you, and you can adapt it to your strategy, but it'll all come with time to see what sort of potential picks come out for the side of SU.
Yeah, so what I'd like to see this draft kind of pan out to, with Shenandoah on red side, I'd love to see them take Zyricon, something that's fairly safe in both the ADC and support role. They have a bunch of dashes, they can play safe. If they want to look for ganks, they can. They have nice setup, scales nice in the late game. So I think that's a pretty safe pick they can pick on red side. And then I would love to see the top counter pick, because the whole game plan we've kind of been preaching is that VCU's like, okay, we're looking at top lane, we're looking at bot lane that can secure themselves kind of their own lead, and mid lane we're just taking neutral. So I would love to see Shenandoah kind of recognize that and be like, okay, our mid lane, we can just pick something that'll go neutral, maybe even pick the Ahri again. We can even go Zyricon Ahri, kind of run back game one. And then we can look for a counter pick, and then something in jungle that can kind of help our top laner or our bot lane kind of stay neutral or go ahead. Because I feel like as long as you can do that, the neutral mid lane might be able to look for plays, or we might be able to scale on top lane or find some of those resources that we're kind of missing.
Absolutely, and I think you hit it dead on, is that with all of those pieces in play, it can really fall into SU's hands, and we could see that reverse sweep. But before we get to that point, before we hop into the game 3, we are going to take a very quick break, so don't go anywhere and get ready for game 3. We'll be back in a bit.
As the Lulu looking for
a
kill. Oh, barely gonna find it.
But a return on the other side of the map here.
Meanwhile, gonna get slowed by the Kog'Maw E. They're looking for a kill. Split damage again. Lulu looking to kill the Xayah. Gonna find it. The Ignite going down. They're looking for a kill to get the reset. They're not gonna get it. Lulu's living on 1 health. Does have the flash soon. The Polymorph gonna come out. The shield. Viego aren't quite as far, not being able to follow up on that knockup. So I think they just need to coordinate better on who they're going on, and they can find those kills, find those resets for Viego, and be a lot more successful in those ganks, as
Wow!
Wrecked.
Came down to the fact that it lasted just a little too long. Renekton was able to ult, generate the instant 50 Fury, and was able to get that very nice shred Q. But the Viego is topside and is also getting Chunk having to ult out. The Ahri dashes in and gets a...
See a fight mid here. Kog'Maw trying to fight for his life, but Viego able to pick one up. Lulu trying to pick one up as well, able to get it with the Kog'Maw passive as they trade 1 for 2 here in the favor of Shenandoah, as Exil trying to look for a kill, being able to push it out, but another charm coming in from the Rakan, not able to kill, as the Talia dismounting the wall, able to just burst the... Oh my gosh! Not able to find the kill on the Galaxy Bird. The Renekton coming in on the Herald, able to knock up Viego and find the here. Renekton fighting unkillable, it seems, as they hammer away at the top turret now. The Nexus exposed as they're looking for an end here at 1830.
Oh my goodness, and we do see players dashing in, trying to respond, but the damage is just too much. And the lanes are playing out like this to start, and the players are definitely playing how they're supposed to. Rakan getting a little close as the level 2s are in.
Yeah, so looking for the kill on this Rel here. Gonna get rooted up, not able to W in time, so should be able to not...
Whoa.
Whoa, and able to find a kill on Desire. Not exactly sure how that happened, but nice find for Shenandoah's bot lane as the Maelstrom coming out mid lane, able to stun into the Volibear. The Pop Blossom not quite coming out.
To look for something, and a half health bot lane may mean a play is made.
Yeah, and opting to pop the Ghost here, not gonna quite get out, but able to dodge the E. The Xayah able to find the kills though.
To the mid lane, but now we're seeing it fall onto carries again. Oh my goodness!
Oh, and really close to Vic Lele, taking another shot there. Great, trying to find the EQ onto the Lowy, not quite able to. There's a bear here.
Alrighty, we are back with some more League of Legends action once again. And for those of you just joining, welcome. My name is Kevin. I'm joined by Nolan. And we are watching some League of Legends action where right now SU is down 2 games in this best of 5. But I have a feeling that they have taken a bit of a mental reset from the last 2 games. We saw a couple of the clips, and while yes, there were moments of like potential comebacks and like getting the money on your carries, the theme of this has been a lot of money is falling onto this bot lane on the other side, and it has been really making VCU's life a lot easier.
Yeah, and Shenandoah has also been able to find these kills in these games. You've been seeing these shutdowns, Exile finding some, the bot lane finding some, the jungler finding some. Like, they've been able to find these shutdowns. They need to get to the point where they're not just finding shutdowns, but where they're finding these kills before their shutdowns.
Right, you need to get those kills at the right time, because not only can you get those kills before the shutdown and then bring it back, you also have objectives to play for. And these games have been ending early because there have been a lot of grubbies all around the map and a lot of Rift Herald action that has been just offering so much in the mid lane, where it will break an inhib and sometimes even stay alive, potentially even to end the game. But we're heading into draft, Nolan, and we see Humors is banned once again. Man, we love the cat, Nolan. How can they keep banning the cat?
We do love the cat, but it seems like VCU does not, in fact, love the cat. An enchanter that is quite annoying. The Kennen ban, though, respect ban coming out from VCU. Not quite liking that Kennen and all that it had to offer. So also banning the Malphite.
Rocks. I do like that we see the Kennen ban. I'm the kind of player who really likes it when my opponent bans characters I play because it feels good. It feels like a sort of feel-good energy. We do see the picks start to come out for these players. There's a Draven right now in the top. There's no way.
There is a Draven top. That.
What?
Whoa.
What in the world? How does that? Okay, let's break this down a little bit, because yes, the draft will continue going. We do see a Quinn ban on the side of SU and an Ari respect pick again, really taking out bans that are for Exil for SU, but at the same time, it looks like it was a lot of the top half of the map being banned, which makes sense from what we've been seeing from VCU's AD carry, is that they have just such a strong presence. We're seeing the Zaya. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Rakan. But, oh my goodness. I am fascinated still by that Draven.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if maybe they're just like, okay, I'm going to ego it. Obviously, Draven famously known for his ego. But also, so when that Gnar jumps in at you, you have the Draven E, which is able to kind of disperse that jump, able to kind of bully back into a ranged matchup, similar to how a Vayne would work. So I'm wondering if that's the idea, if he's just like, okay, I'm just going to play something, or what kind of the method is behind the madness.
Yeah, and frankly, I could talk about this one for a while. I'm going to move to some of the other champions to start, and then I want to go back to the Draven. But I want to look bot lane first. Zaya Rakan picked for a third game in a row. The duo is just so good. But up against a Jinx and a Hui. And I usually expect to see Hui in the mid lane, but he's been seeing a little bit of love in the bot lane. How has that been going in the bot lane meta?
So Hui, not particularly seen a whole bunch in the bot lane. Is picked here, I assume, so you can fear. So the Hui has the fear on his E, able to fear the Rakan out of, if he charms at you, if he W's at you, you can just fear him and just walk away. So more of a neutralizer, more than like, hey, I'm going to do a bunch of damage. It's like, hey, I'm going to keep my Jinx safe, and we're just going to kite you.
Yeah, and that is all, like, that makes sense, because we've seen the pressure that lane has for Zaya and Rakan, but also we've seen this rise of, like, damage supports, where, like, you have Camille. I know you've been working on that. That's been a wild experience, and a pretty strong one. It's kind of ridiculous. But we're seeing characters like that who have very high damage numbers later on, who don't shockingly need as many items as you might expect. And I feel as though I have seen support ways 1v1 AD carries, and that drives me nuts, but I don't play that role. So, like, maybe they expect that to be normal. With all that being said, moving on from the bot lane, though, I do want to talk about the mid lane matchup. You want to talk about a skill matchup? You want to talk about both players saying, I think I can keep up with you type deal, like a Dragon Ball Z sort of like smackdown? You have anime character number 1, Yone, versus anime character number 2, Akali, going for a clash in the mid lane, trying to slap each other silly and seeing who comes out on top. I feel as though Akali will control that early, but then Yone is such a titan late that it may fall into Yone's hands. That's not to sell Akali short, though. It just might not be in the 1v1.
Yeah, I agree. And as you were saying, it's all about the skill matchup, who's hitting everything. And as you were saying at the beginning of the broadcast with the dashes, you have champion who has 1,000,000 dashes versus champion who has just about 1,000,000 dashes. So we'll see them kind of just, as you said, like a Dragon Ball Z, they'll be going back and forth before your very eyes. Yeah. So you have to try and keep watch as best you can on that lane.
And I love the idea. Their impacts will be so strong, we will feel the shockwaves from home. But looking past the anime battle going on in the mid lane, you have two creatures fighting in the jungle. You have the Manta Ray, you have Belveth versus the Tiger, Lion, whatever Nidalee transforms into, is two junglers who are relatively satisfied, or actually, no, I need to correct myself. Belveth wants to farm and get this lead, but has a very, like, good gank presence. Nidalee is the kind of champion that you need to see getting pressure on the map early to pop off later. And so I'm expecting to see a bit more of those two potentially playing opposite each other, like we've seen a lot throughout the first two games, where Nidalee going to be looking for a gank, and Bel'Veth is either going to have to be forced to respond or try and counter gank that lane.
Yeah, and so you might notice the Nidalee doesn't have a whole lot of gank setup on the side of VCU here. You have a Draven, you have a Yone, and then the bot lane kind of, sort of, but you don't really have a lot of gank setup, so I do expect this Nidalee to be more so focused on invading the Bel'Veth, being, okay, I'm stronger, like way stronger early. You just want to farm because you're pretty weak early, so I kind of expect them to have a lot of pressure as we see a skirmish up in the top side. Draven going on to the Gnar, Gnar trying to trade back. I don't think Gnar wins this one.
No, this is the dangerous beast that you have to deal with, and it falls into Draven.
Looks like they're going to try and then get a trade kill back onto the Akali, which they will find, but Draven finding the first blood here.
I don't hate that. You know what else I just realized? It is a flash, exhaust, lethal tempo Draven top lane. Now, I'm a top lane player, and this is a message for all of you top lane players out there. Don't bring exhaust. Don't be that guy. No one likes that. But looking past that, there's a reason for it, right? You have Gnar, whose whole point is to jump in, who's able to put up all this pressure, and because of that, it is a great choice for this lane matchup, and potentially later on. I wanted to talk a little bit more about Draven and Gnar, and I think we should do it now, because when you are playing against a Gnar, yes, he can kind of poke you out, but the lane is surprisingly a little slow, a little bit like passive, and so because of that, I'm wondering if they picked the Draven not only because they know some secret tech, but also because if you play an AFK lane against a Draven, he's going to have so many stacks of adoration that he will make so much money. It could really lead into some dangerous play.
Oh, and you see the double flash and all sums from the bot lane of VCU, finding the kill onto Galaxy Bird, trying to poke out for Mattress, not going to be able to find an extra kill there. But really nice from the side of VCU.
That's very well played, getting these kills early on, and we are starting to see the CS difference start to grow already. Yes, the wave is crashing down topside, and yes, Gnar is trying to trade it back, but those are fat axes, and they hurt. So when that is what you're taking in order to get your CS, it's not gonna be a good situation. So now we do see Nidalee starting to farm a little bit in Galaxy Bird's jungle.
Oh! And the Rakan able to find the kill onto the Nidalee, overextending a bit much. Oh, and the red buff unfortunately going to reset on the Bel'Veth there, but it looks like both junglers were just happy with vertical jungling there. Both kind of, the Bel'Veth going to stay on the top side, and Nidalee was going to stay on the bot side, but killed by the Rakan, caught with their pants down there on the Gromp. But yeah.
I mean, I am fascinated. I mean, obviously you're going for that, assuming that the bot lane is feeling too much pressure to follow up, but you have this Rakan taking a step into that push, being like, wait a second, and then immediately taking that KO on the Nidalee, and then Nidalee immediately buying that Dark Seal. There are 3 games in a row where this Nidalee player is probably going to go Magi's.
Yeah, for sure. And Rakan not able to find the W there, but should be pretty safe. Eating back to Xayah as we see a fight on the Raptor side of Bel'Veth. Looking like just going to be a flash from the Bel'Veth, able to keep safe as Nidalee will look to take Bel'Veth's Raptors. Kind of what we were expecting. Going to get a little help from the Yone in the mid lane, but yeah, this is kind of what we're expecting.
Right, and it's also worth mentioning there are 2 kills on the Draven top side. He was able to secure another one just now, but also another fight's breaking out, and the exhaust is back up, Nolan.
Oh, is he still going to have the damage for this? No, he is going to be able to find the kill, going to get a shutdown as Galaxy Bird dropping low, going to get feared, able to find a kill. The Jinx getting excited, but not able to find anything else. As that's a pretty huge kill.
Yeah, I mean, that is very, very good because now Jinx already has double the gold of Firm Mattress and a little bit of poke on Exil in the mid lane, but we do see, I mean, Draven's lead is also stacking up. That Shuriken connected and burned the Nidalee flash.
Ooh, getting the Nidalee flash there. Really nice trade from Exil. Gonna drop a little bit of health, but overall, really nice trade. I'd be happy to have that if I'm the Akali.
Nolan, I am a very simple man, and I see with my eyes there are 3 plates that have already fallen bot side, and we are 5.5 minutes into this game.
Yeah, that Jinx, especially getting excited off that 1 kill, just able to push the lane just extremely fast, able to take advantage of the bot lane not being there off the kill. As Bel'Veth, really nice timer, able to almost find it, but gonna trade 1 for 1. Gonna get that kill onto Akali. I actually kind of like that. I like getting the resources onto your Akali here. Getting her ahead of this kind of skill matchup, as we were saying. And the Bel'Veth just, her camp's kind of respawning here, so not as much to do. So I kind of like that trade.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of trades, look at Firm Mattress's health off of 1 round of poke, and the abilities are back up. Summoner's Code has a double buffs, which means that these abilities will be flying constantly. There it is again. Boom!
Ooh, barely not able to find the kill. Summoner's Code. Oh, getting trapped under the tower, but not getting targeted by the tower. The Ignite gonna come down from both sides. Summoner's Code gonna be able to find that kill. As Great, looking for a flash, not able to find the kill on the animated. Sausen looking for the Draven, overextended, gonna be able to pick up that kill. Really nice response on the top side of the map.
Exactly. We know that this Draven has been putting up so much pressure, and yes, he does have 3 kills, but there's a reason why he also has 3 deaths, is because he's just walking forward so much. But he has because he's been trading these kills, he still has those adoration stacks and has been getting so much money because of it, with about a 1.5K lead on the Gnar. And again, not only is the CS the difference, but a fight breaks out too.
Oh, and the Rakan able to gonna step in those traps. The Whale also coming down. Hui has ult. The Firm Mattress still at level of 3, a bunch of levels down. Wow.
Yeah, it feels as though that VCU has entered the state of like almost this flow state of feeling good, understanding where their game plan is, and because of that, I think it's already starting to become difficult for SU to find this opportunity, as we see Seosin start to hit the dragon, but the enemy bot lane is still there, and Jinx is level 6. There's a rocket in that Jinx's arsenal. It's thrown, it doesn't hit the Xayah, and Bel'Veth backs off of the dragon.
Now, Firm Mattress, who really loves the Jinx, loves sending that rocket, sending a message, but the VCU not able to find it. Exil almost will end up falling there. Perfect execution, not able to find the damage on the top side, as Draven just walking under the turret, able to find the kill and not quite dropping under tower.
Yeah, and again, look how much money it is making this Draven. Look how the bot lane money is falling onto this Jinx. The tower's already gone, and we are 9 minutes into this game, and it's so much. We talk about the money, the lifeline, and stopping the bleeding, but it is so difficult when so many characters are getting this money early, and those characters are hyperscalers, the kind of characters that hit the late game and you are sitting there twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah, and you'll notice the 3 grubs that were taken earlier. We were talking about this at the start of the broadcast, the power of those grubs. But especially on someone like Jinx, who can just auto attack those towers early and kind of get ramped up, those grubs end up doing a lot of damage to the tower. So really helping them take this first tower, as Yone looking for an engage here. Gonna look on the Firm Mattress, taking about a third of the health there, not able to find anything, as they'll back up to their tier 2.
Oh my goodness, Nolan. I mean, we are seeing completed items on just about every player from the side of VCU. The Magi's has returned, but not only that, Jinx has a hubris, Nolan.
Whoa.
That is the big ego check of this game on top of the Draven, is that it's showing that these players are very confident, very comfortable in their game plan, and because of that, I think we're just seeing the fruits of their labor.
Yeah, so really looking to, those W's are going to hurt, those rockets are going to hurt. As, wow,
Jeez,
lots
man.
of damage, the rocket missing. Galaxy Bird trying to go in with what little life they have left. The Belveth gonna flash away, not quite finding anything there, but holy damage. I
mean, the hubris stacks are already there, and yes, the rocket didn't need to connect, but you know who else has that completed item? The Way. The Luden's Tempest burst has been so much, and when those roots have been connecting so consistently throughout this entire game, you are going to get hit with that Vygar equivalent of an ability, and that thing hurts.
Oh, and the perfect execution, not able to find it. The Yone trying to look for a kill, the W able to confirm it. Vic Lele getting ignited, not able to find a kill onto Firm Mattress. Still looking at this mid lane tower. Grubs are up. The 3 Grubs are doing work to this mid lane tower, but the other 3 Grubs would definitely help. Teleport coming up top side.
Yes, and Draven is 5-3, has a completed collector. Look how much damage that did. That was with a bone plating up and 2 auto attacks, and he is already feeling the pressure. It's so much damage from the side of VCU, and this game is going to be very difficult to bring back from as the Grubs fall into VCU's hands, and when you have a Belveth on your team, that's not what you want.
Yeah, Belveth really loving to take these Grubs because they can give you your kind of enhanced form there, and especially if you get 6, those dying Grubs will spawn your kind of Grubs as Nard just getting obliterated. The rocket coming in, the Avengers showing up, projectiles from everywhere. Is Belveth gonna try and look a kill onto this Way?
Oh,
gonna be able to find it. Nice shutdown. Gonna be able to get some gold back for herself.
Very well played by the Belveth player, able to salvage a very awkward situation. Yes, the Gnar goes down, but again, you have money falling onto characters that you want. And so if that is what you need, keep your eyes on the bounties because those are the characters that you want to go down on the side of SU.
Yeah, and this tower looking like it's not going to quite fall yet on this top side. The 6 Grubs are going to be able to take down these towers fast, but Draven opting to reset, finish his item, his lethality item there. Finish his boots, and gonna go back to lane. Looks like bot lane's going top to finish that tower as well.
Yes, and I find it interesting. I just realized that the Akali went fleet footwork for the side of SU, which means that that is purely based for the survivability, which means that this damage, oh my goodness, this damage.
Nice flash from Gnar, but the tower's about to go down. The Jinx is gonna get excited. Oh, and the cross map, the second cross map, well, not just the rocket, it's going to be the whirling blades as Akali's going to fall here. Belveth not quite able to find the knock up there onto the Yone, and Yone's going to get away.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the kind of awkward situation where it feels as though VCU has not only so much comfort on these characters, but these play styles. They're feeling good. They've gotten the leads that they need, and because of that, we see the Seosin going for the blue buff and having to dash away. While the VCU players are comfortable, they probably weren't expecting that.
Yeah, just giving the little thumbs up. Draven doing a lot of damage to the Belveth, having to back up. The Gnar kind of trying to contest the Jinx here. The Jinx having a lot of lethality, so doesn't have as quick as auto attacks, but...
Oh my goodness, Nolan, there's another hubris in this game, and another Magi's. There's a Magi's on the bottom part of the map. Way has a Dark Seal, excuse me.
Eventually.
Right, exactly. If I had to bet, it's going to be built into a Magi's, and hubris being the AD Magi's of choice, I feel like they're trying to make a point here.
Yeah, and Jinx getting excited, gonna get caught by the Recon W. Summoner's Code about to go down here, gonna find the return kill. Draven Whirling Death missing and able to pick up a 1-for-1. Nice little trade there on the side for Shenandoah.
Yes, and it's a good kill, but it's not necessarily the kill that you want because so many of these characters have shutdowns on the side of VCU. And so if you're looking for anyone, yes, it's good to get that extra gold in your pocket, but definitely Hui was not the one.
Oh, I'm gonna dodge the Yone ulti here. The nice, perfect execution, gonna find a 950 gold shutdown for Exil. That's huge as they're gonna be looking onto the Rift Herald, which would be huge pickup for Bel'Veth. Nidalee kind of looking though.
Yeah, and if you're going to be dealing this is a smite battle that you have to win.
Oh, and the rocket will miss.
We have seen our players do plenty of smite battles. Does she get it? She does!
Nobody's gonna be able to pick up that eye, but Firm Match is going down. No one's... Oh, the Nard! Being able to pick up the eye there. I don't know if he'll get out with his life here, but able to pick up the Herald Eye. Draven waiting on the other side of the pit for his prey. Gonna be able to pick it up and able to get those stacks of adoration.
Yeah, unfortunate. As much as you want your Rift Herald for Bel'Veth to be in that enhanced form, when you go down, you don't keep it. And so, yes, we do lose out on that, but SU does get the Rift Herald thanks to Nar's sacrifice. I loved what we saw. Again, hey, those smite battles that we had during practice paying off also. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And the message coming through the Jinx ult. Oh my gosh. And the flash from Draven able to one-shot the Xayah. Her health was 2 Draven autos and the Whirling Death.
There are 4 items in this game that scale with KOs, and we are 15 minutes in, and there are a total of 33 KOs on the board, 25 on the side of VCU, and I mean the damage is racking up because of it. We are only 16 minutes in, and the towers are going down. The Grubbies adding so much value as a fight breaks out.
Oh, look at the Akali here, able to find the kill onto the Jinx, getting the shutdown, but not able to live. Draven just sitting at the fountain, able to spawn the Herald. They find the kill onto the Draven, but it looks like the Herald won't be able to clear the champions and the minions. It looks like that will be game number 3 for VCU.
Yeah, I mean, Shelly dancing on the side of SU. SU's Nexus going down, but still Shelly says, yeah, we can still feel good, you know, it doesn't matter who I'm working for. But with all of that, I do like how it's rough, right? It was a very snowbally game. We saw a couple of weird picks. We saw the Draven. We saw the skill matchup mid lane, and a very strong hubris Jinx launching rockets left and right. It hurts, but it's the kind of loss that you just shake off a little bit, say, no worries, we'll get him next time.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a VOD reviewable set of games. Yeah. And you just, as you said, you just shake them off and you go at them next week.
Yeah, you have fun. And so with all of that being said, kudos to VCU. Played exceptionally well. And I loved some of the more unique picks that they had going on throughout all of that. The Magi's confidence coming in on almost every single game reminds me of an old friend of mine who would do the exact same thing. So that was very good to see. But with all of that being said, I do think we are going to call things here. Nolan, is there anything else you would like to say to the people at home?
No, but thank you, Shenandoah. Thank you, VCU, for giving us a great match here.
Yeah, and so with all of that being said, kudos to all of the players, and I am looking forward to some more League of Legends action in the future. I hope you all are too. If you enjoyed this broadcast, by all means, drop a follow, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.
Lethal as the Lulu looking for
a
kill. No, barely gonna find it.
But a return on the other side of the map. Here comes.
Meanwhile, gonna get slowed by the Kog'Maw E. They're looking for a kill. Split damage again. Lulu looking to kill the Xayah. gonna find it. The Ignite going down. They're looking for a kill to get the reset. They're not gonna get it. Lulu's living on 1 health. Does have the flash soon. The Polymorph gonna come out. The shield. Diego aren't quite as far, not being able to follow up on that knockup. So I think they just need to coordinate better on who they're going on, and they can find those kills, find those resets for Viego, and be a lot more successful in those ganks as, wow!
Came down to the fact that it lasted just a little too long. Renekton was able to ult, generate the instant 50 Fury, and was able to get that very nice shred Q. But the Viego is topside and is also getting Chunk, having to ult out. The Ahri dashes in and gets
I see a fight mid here. Kog'Maw trying to fight for his life, but Viego able to pick one up. Lulu trying to pick one up as well, able to get it with the Kog'Maw passive as they trade 1 for 2 here in the favor of Shenandoah, as Exil trying to look for a kill, being able to push it out. Another charm coming in from the Rakan, not able to kill, as the Talia dismounting the wall, able to just burst the... Oh my gosh! Not able to find the kill on the Galaxy Bird. The Renekton coming in on the Herald, able to knock up Viego and find here. Renekton fighting unkillable, it seems, as they hammer away at the top turret now. The Nexus exposed as they're looking for an end here at 1830.
Oh my goodness, and we do see players dashing in, trying to respond, but the damage is just too much. And lanes are playing out like this to start, and the players are definitely playing how they're supposed to. Rakan getting a little close as the level 2s are in.
Yeah, so looking for the kill on this Rel here, gonna get rooted up, not able to W in time, so should be able to not...
Whoa.
Whoa, and able to find a kill on Desire. Not exactly sure how that happened, but nice find for Shenandoah's bot lane as the Maelstrom coming out mid lane, able to stun into the Volley Bear. The Pop Blossom not quite coming out.
To look for something, and a